All right, me hearties. I am going to go through this one step at a time. So the lecture is posted in week 14. This is the checklist. It's due next Wednesday. Just make sure that it's uploaded before class time, okay? Here we go. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the original text file. All right, if you don't have it, go back to I think it's week 10. Go get it, download it. I want you to go through that text file and put it up against your InDesign file. Here's my terrible poster. Now, at a glance, you can see I'm missing the Adobe logo, right? It's not here. So I would need to stop what I'm doing, go back, download the Adobe logo, and get it on the page somewhere. I could also add the Max logo if I wanted to. But otherwise, then, I'm going to go through this thing literally line by line. So, does it say Adobe Max, the Creativity Conference? Yes. October 18th to the 20th, 2024? Yes. I'm just going to make sure everything that's in that text file is present here in my InDesign file. That I didn't leave anything out that I need to leave out. I have session highlights. I have all the sessions. Make sure you count them. Make sure that you're not missing any sessions. You notice I've added a call to action. You don't have to do that. But I do have the adobe.com URL, so I'm missing the logo. So if this were my assignment, I would need to go back, get the Adobe logo, and put it in here. Just make sure nothing has dropped out. All right. Are you on the grid? Well, let's see. If I go in and I go from preview to non-preview, you can see that in the course of doing my assignment, I have gone from a 3-column grid. See how I'll do Command 3 and hide this. So I started out with the idea of a 3-column grid. I'll say show all to bring it back. Now I'm at a 4-column grid. So I'm going to go to layout, margins and columns. And I'm going to make sure my background grid in margins and columns matches my text grid, which I've done in my text box. Okay. This is a 4-column grid with a 1 pica 6 gutter. So again, I'll go back to my margins and columns, 4-column grid, 1 pica column, 1 pica 0, excuse me, not 1 pica 6. And I'll make sure my margins match. I want my grid, to show. I want my grid to match, okay? Make sure your grid matches. Is everything in the right order? Is your hierarchy correct? How is your compositional flow? If you look at the lecture that I uploaded into week 14, the last page is the compositional flow. We start at the top. We read from top to bottom. We go from left to right. And we discussed this in class. If you're not doing that compositional flow, okay, that's your choice. But are you giving the reader visual cues in the layout that, hey, this is how I want you to read it, right? We talked about that you're allowed to break the rules as long as it's clear to anybody looking at your poster, hey, this is what I want you to read first, this is what I want you to read second. I would suggest showing it to a friend and saying, does this make sense to you? What's the name of the conference? When does it occur? What's it about? Make sure that they understand what's going on the page. All right, let's keep going. Sorry, let's go back. All right. This is my checklist. Are all the extra hard returns, not all the hard returns, but the extra hard returns? Well, let's find out. Again, I'm going to go out of preview mode and into regular mode. I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to make sure under type that show hidden characters is checked on, right? I want to see these hidden characters. Oops. So this is what I mean by an extra hard return. A hard return that's just hanging out. This one, this is fine. This one's got to go. All right? No extra hard returns. We don't add spacing with hard returns. We add spacing with paragraph returns. So I got to get this out of there. Oh, look, here's another one. I got to clean this up. Again, this hard return is fine. That hard return, though, that I just nuked, that's an extra hard return. I'm using it as spacing between these two items. No good. Gotta go. Let me see. Any others? So let me take this. Notice when I took that extra hard return out, this copy came down from here. So that's something else you can check. Make sure that things are starting and stopping where you want. So I'll go to type and I'll say insert the column break. So there's no double hard returns. There's no extra hard returns. There are no hard returns in this file being used as spacing. That will count against you in a really big ticket way if you have any of those. So get rid of them. Okay. Let's look at your paragraph styles. Are there any overrides? What do I mean by overrides? Well, let's take a look. Paragraph styles. Come on in. Oops, there's an override. Oh, golly, there's another override. Wow, it's lousy with overrides. More. So here's what happened. At the very end, I grabbed everything and turned it blue. I changed the color. So what I have to do, I have to do one thing or the other. I have to clear the overrides. So let's go into the headlines and clear the overrides. There, you can see that when I clear the override, it turns black again. So I have to make a choice about what I want. So I can say, go ahead and clear the override, or I can say, I can undo and say, redefine the style. And if I do that, everything is blue because that's what I wanted, but there's no plus sign, no override. Again, redefine the style, redefine the style, redefine the style. It's going to take a minute. Redefine the style, redefine the style. The only override that I will allow is if you go in to some of these body copies and like here, see how I have this one InDesign? Let me zoom in. So I have this one word InDesign hanging out by itself. So if I go in and I grab everything, I'll change my kerning to optical. Now -30 is a lot, but just for this one paragraph, to get rid of that little widow at the bottom, I've done -30, and it fits and it works. That is an override that I will allow. If you've gone in and you've fussed with your breaks, that's an I'll look at it and say, oh, the override is kerning or letter spacing. I'll allow that, okay? Which brings me to my next point. Let me go back to the checklist. Check your rags. In other words, does the type read smoothly? So let's go back in. Nope, look at that. That's a terrible rag. So, oh, by the way, see here? Now, I've got a style sheet, but I've got the wrong style sheet. This is a headline. And when I make that change, you can see, got to check that out. But take a second to make sure that the style sheets are assigned to the correct things. I had the date assigned to what is actually a headline, so then I had to fix that. All right? Things should be assigned to the styles that they need. All right, but let's take a look. So you can see the break works now. Let's see. Am I breaking anybody's name? Do I have any hyphenations in my headlines? I want to make sure, watch, I'm going to go into the headline style sheet. I want to make sure for the headlines that hyphenation is switched off, right? And if you have hyphenation switched on for your body copy, just go take a look at your rags. Here, I'll go back to preview mode. All right, so here, see how the word see, it's the beginning of a sentence and it's all by itself up here? I'm going to do Shift Command and push it to the next line. That's a slightly better break. And then I think I'll push make to the next line. I'll push apps to the next line. These are all soft returns that I'm putting in. That's what a soft return looks like. Don't forget, not hard returns, soft returns. Let me go back. I'm not breaking her name. I'm not breaking the name of the product. I'm not breaking the name of the product. Sometimes you have to. Let's see. I don't like the idea of 2020 being kind of at the end of this line all by itself, so I'll do that. Yeah. Oh, look what I did. See that? Because I changed this rag, everything in this column moved down a line, and this came up to the top of the next line. Let's see if I can fix that by coming in here and there we go. So just take a minute to go in and kind of make sure your rags are working. Make sure that you're not doing anything like here. See how Republica Havas, first of all, I'm splitting the name of the company, and Havas is all by itself on this line. So Shift Return. I'll put in a soft return. This is a better break. I put in that Instagram video. I put it into the Slack channel where Ellen Lupton is talking about rags and what is a good rag and what is a bad rag. You want to try and not have a long line next to a short line. You just want it to be kind of a pleasing rag. So I'll push 2 to the next line, and I'll push 100. 100 goes with flavors, so I'll push that to the next line. Let's take a minute, put on some soft music, and just go through and push your rags around, okay? All right, moving on. Did you add bleed? Now, we added bleed in class, but not everybody was in class, so let's do that together. Let's take a look at my design. Whether you have a bleed design or not, I want bleed in the file, so watch me do it. So you can see I do have a bleed element in my design, right? I have these boxes of color. So I'd go to File, Document Setup. Here's my bleed. I'll add 18 points of bleed. If you're in inches, you can add 0.125 inches worth of bleed. But if I do it in the first box and the settings all the same link is on, you'll notice it automatically autofills all the boxes. And I hit OK. This red line is the bleed line. So that when I make my PDF, the image will come out to that line. So that when this file is sent to the printer and it gets trimmed down, because it always gets printed on a piece of paper slightly larger than what it actually is, when it gets trimmed down, we don't end up with a little sliver of white. So I'm going to pull that picture box out to the bleed. So you create the bleed in the file, and you go back in and you make sure that the picture box hits the bleed. All right? And if you don't have bleed, just put the bleed marks in the document anyway, so I know that you understand how to do that. All right, we're almost done. We're almost ready. Package your file. Make sure there is no overset text and all the images are included, and upload. Okay. So here we go. I will go to File, Package. This is all the information that is in your file. Let's go to Package down here. All right, it's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. The publication must be saved before continuing. Save it now. Yes. Now I'm going to figure out where I want this thing. Please note that it's first name, last name, project 3, and then InDesign adds the word folder. I want to copy the fonts. I want to copy the linked graphics. I want it to include an IDML, and I want it to include a PDF. And you can do, you're not going to have all of these choices. You can do smallest file size if you want. Okay, and hit Package. Now, it says you might not get all the fonts because it won't collect Adobe fonts. And if you get sued, that's not our problem. Fine. Ah, there is overset text on the page. I have to stop. If I get this warning, I have to stop what I'm doing. I have to go into the page. And what I'm looking for a little red plus sign. I'm trying to figure out somewhere on this page, text is getting cut off. But then if I look closely, especially I'm going to look with my hidden characters on, oops, here it is. Here's the extra text. So I'm going to do Command 3 and hide this. So what's happening is, in this particular text box, look, I have a filthy extra hard return. And it's pushing, I have 2 of them. Oh my goodness. It's pushing down. Oh my God, there's 3 of them. What am I thinking of? And if I come up here, see the little hashtag? That's an indication that you're at the end of the text in the text box, and the plus sign has gone away. All right? You cannot put a file with overset text in. That is going to cost you in the grading. All right? It's a bad thing to do. So let me go back, get that back. All right, I'm ready to start again. So if you hit that error message, you have to stop what you're doing, go back, and figure out where the cutoff text is. Okay, package, yes. Go ahead and do it. Yes. See, it didn't package last time because I stopped the packaging process. So I'm getting a blend space warning. I don't really care about this. Don't worry about the color space warning. It's basically saying that I'm using colors, RGB colors that aren't going to look good in CMYK. We don't care, so we'll hit OK. And there, it packaged. Now, if the links were broken, I would get another error message saying, hey, your document has broken links. Again, you have to go and find, we'll go to the links menu. You have to make sure that your links are up to date. If the link is broken, you've got to go find that link and relink the file. Don't package a file with a broken link. All right? And if you need help with that, let me know and I can show you where the error lies. All right? So we're almost done. I can close this now. And then somewhere on my hard drive, here it is. Here's the project folder. And the last thing I'm going to do, I am not going to upload every single file as an individual file, okay, which is what a lot of you did last time. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Compress. I'm going to compress the folder. Now it ends in .zip. Let me get rid of that one. So the zipped file is what you want. And when you double click on that zipped file, you notice it says 2 because the original is right over here. There it is. All right. So this single zipped file is what you upload. All right. The assignment is in week 14. If you have questions, I'm going to be around tomorrow night, Tuesday night, if you need help. Remember that we have 3 more class periods after this. And if you don't finish this, then this is what you can work on in those 3 class periods. You're going to work on one of your 3 projects, either to make it better. When I finish the grades, I promise everybody's going to have something to do. Or I'll teach you how to comp them up for your portfolios. Okay? So if you're not done, upload it anyway. We'll do a critique in class, and then we'll move forward. You're almost done with this. You can do this. Let me know if you need help. All right.